new evidence indicates that gay fathers actually develop patterns, brain patterns that are typical in both straight men and straight women. This is a really fascinating study because it focuses primarily on brain scans. And what the researchers did, and the researchers are from Israel, is they scanned the brains of new mothers, then they scanned the brains of new straight fathers, and then they scanned the brains of new gay fathers. And here's what they found. In the study, the mothers who played a primary caregiver role for their children demonstrated heightened activity in their brain's emotion processing regions when watching their children. The straight fathers, playing a traditional secondary parenting role, exhibited increased cognitive activity in the brain. So the women were much more emotional, the men were much more cognitive, demonstrating awareness of what their children's cries and cues were trying to communicate. But the gay fathers demonstrated both the mother's emotional and father's cognitive brain activity, suggesting that they were, at least according to their brains, operating like both mothers and fathers. And so the researchers said that, you know, the men's brains are very plastic, so they can adapt to the given situation. They can play both roles, which is really, really fascinating stuff.
Well, apparently they're like supermen and superwomen. I wonder if there's going to be some jealousy coming out of this research. That like they can apparently do both.
They have superior brains.
Well, clearly.
Yeah.
They're smarter, more cognitive and more emotional. But yeah, we also should bear in mind, like they're focusing here on the effect on gay parents because I assume they have sort of an agenda, and thankfully the science supports the agenda, that they can fill both roles. And it's ridiculous to say that a kid can only be brought up in a healthy fashion if he's with a traditional one male, one female relationship. But I'm sure that this, as they say, is just as true if a guy has to raise a kid all by himself or a single mother. Like, they will have to fill both of those roles. Like, the brain is plastic not just for the gay couples, it's plastic for us as well. And feeling like we should be constrained by gender roles that were developed in the 20s and 30s and 40s, like that's ridiculous. Like, we are more plastic than that. We can fill more roles. And what it means to be a mother and what it means to be a father isn't the same as it was even when we were kids, let alone our parents were kids.
Right. So this coming summer, the National Organization for Marriage, along with Mike Huckabee, are planning on doing this march in Washington, D.C. to kind of protest same-sex marriage and marriage equality. And one of the reasons why they do that is because they feel that children that are raised in same-sex households do not fare well. But it's really interesting to hear that argument because there's a growing body of evidence that proves that wrong. I mean, we had done studies about this or had reported on studies about this previously in previous years, and it shows that, hey, not only do children do just as well as, you know, children in heterosexual families, but in some cases they might do even better. And now we have actual brain scans showing that there's really no element lacking in the parenting in terms of their brains and what they're likely to do to raise their children. Yeah,
so you're totally right about the science, and I'm glad that we have the science on our side there, but also all of that should be completely irrelevant. Like the fact that even if we found that the kids they raised weren't as psychologically developed or weren't as emotionally developed, doesn't mean they don't have the right to raise kids. I have a feeling that really stupid people probably don't raise kids that are all that well off. We still let them procreate.
Can we mention Honey Boo Boo? Like,
exactly.
Is that okay?
Yeah, like, okay, if you did this study and you found that one racial group had kids that were on average had an IQ 2 points lower, we don't bar them from having children. Like, this is a sideshow that the conservatives bring up that they're not even right on to try to stop gay people from having the same rights as everybody else. But at the end of the day, it's irrelevant. They wouldn't bar people with some sort of handicap from having kids if they had data that they couldn't raise kids. So there's no reason why that should apply to gay people.
Yeah.